Good morning. Can I get a quick sound check? Okay, thank you. All right, let's get rolling. What a difference an hour makes, right? So 413.85 is our pivot for now. Staying above 414.75 to 415.50 is the zone. If they ran right up there, it's a shorting opportunity. They've already been there. The thieves in the morning took care of it. However, they should really do it during the regular session. And it's still overhead resistance. You could see what it is. It's pretty obvious. It's a breakdown candle high, no man's land, and the gap. I mean, somewhere in there, under normal garden variety conditions, they're going to find resistance and pull back, even if it takes a little while. That's the story. Okay, if they don't get there right away, something else is going on. If they stay above 413.85, they should get there. Below 413.85, more than a few minutes, more than a spike, and it opens the door for these lower places. All right, so that's the setup for now. Got some stocks on the move. I've got the trend lines loaded up, so we'll see what happens across the board. Few minutes, 3 minutes to post time. That's really all it is. It's not complicated, straightforward. Comes, not yet, but it will. So therefore I'll answer first. Can you ride it up to 414.75 or higher? And the answer is you can, but it's a very difficult trade. If they're above 413.85, they're going to be working on that. But as we know, as soon as you enter a trade, they could drop right back below if it's close by. It's the pivot. It's difficult to do that because they're up so much. The better trade on the board for now, until after the open and we see what's going on, is if they ran up there right away, they should have a reaction back down, similar to what happened in the pre-market for those of you that were watching that. So they gave us the trade without us being there. That's the thieves in the morning. The market did the thing already in the pre-market. Doesn't mean it can't do it in the post-market. It's just first time, best time kind of concept, right? So we don't want to alter that thinking. Doesn't mean it won't work, but first time, best time. All right, we'll give them a couple of minutes left. By the way, since we have a minute left, this was a good example of another situation that we all know exists. Some of us may have even fallen into the trap of buying puts thinking that the CPI was going to drive the market down and there's a pie in the face to be issued at the opening bell. Happens all the time. All right, we got 10 seconds to post time. They're at the gate and they're off. No surprise, they're right on 413.85, the pivot. This is the test right now. Are the bears going to be able to drive price down a little bit into that white space down to 412.80? Or are the bulls going to be able to lift it back up and do the same thing they did in the pre-market? We don't know the answer, but that's the decision tree. We don't chase stuff. What we do is we wait for the one we want, and we're all different, and that's why we design what makes us comfortable in terms of the trade around everything that I'm discussing, the numbers, the concept. If they're above 413.85, they're going to be working on 414.75, but the trick, trap, fool, and frustrate crew is likely to show up at some point in between. Just the way it works. Michael, if that saved you, if that thought process saved you from taking that bet, it's great. Doesn't work most of the time. Betting on the CPI, one way or the other, doesn't work most of the time.
COHR opened below the first level, but above the second level, and it's moved back over the first level. So first level's off the table, second one kind of bounced away from.
Where did that number come from? That number doesn't need to be there. Spiders are doing the thing where they get above 413.85, test the pivot, and trying to get to 414.75. Doesn't make it an easy trade, just makes it what they were doing. And they can get higher. That's just the beginning part of the zone. It's around the breakdown candle high, pardon me.
Dutch Brothers came close and then bounced away just now. I think it's a pretty wide spread. very, very widespread. It's over 1% on the stock.
All right. I was doing some admin stuff. What are they doing? Same thing. No change. I'll get you that later, Armand. Ask me again later. Let's see it trade out for a little while. We'll see if this is real or a fake out. Transports are up. Qs are up nicely. IWM's up nicely. Financials, okay. Smash mouths up. Just looking around the horn quickly. You're close on that number, Armand. A little bit lower, but you're close enough. See, this is what we were talking about before. Me, where first they come up short. We talk about it all the time. They don't get there, and then they pull back. That's normal garden variety stuff. Said it before, somewhere in between. Trick, trap, fool, and frustrate crew show up. A little bit of a pullback. It's called selling, profit taking, all of the above. Doesn't mean anything. As long as they stay above 413.85, they're in good shape. Might have something here. I got my eye on trying to find a price. 106, win, WYNN, give or take, 106. Yeah, and there's your pullback in the spiders. All right, they come up short. They pull back. Now the door's open for 412.80. As long as they stay below 413.85, if they do. If this is just a test, so be it. They're just jerking them around. Staying below means time. It starts with a little time and it morphs into more time. The more time they stay below, the more the door is open for the next number below. Sometimes they get there quickly, sometimes they drip, but that's just how we look at it. And remember what 412.80 is. It's the gap that they just gapped over that they couldn't fill yesterday by getting above 411.50. Right here. They stopped, they went back down. So it's 412.80 down to the closing price here is 79. All right, well, sorry, 412.80. My bad. It's not a magic number, it's just the gap that they gapped over. So generally speaking, it's going to have some importance. And if they stay below, guess where they're going? 411.50, 411.75. We've got a gap and crap situation on our hands. Should they bounce at 411.50? And the answer is yes. With the velocity they've come down in 12 minutes, it's higher risk. 411.50 to 411.25, give or take, should be support if they get there. They bounce a lot first, something else could be developing. Listen, it's 15 minutes into the day. They can get back above 412.80. Can. They always can. Doesn't matter what chart we're looking at, because we're worried about or focused on prices for now. Anybody do anything this morning in terms of trying to ride it up or shorting in front? Just curious. Okay, so we did have some players here and there. We had some pre-markets. We had some profits. Okay. I mean, again, you design what you want around what we know. And that's great. Apparently a lot of you, way more than I thought was going to be. Well done. I think that's like, I almost want to call it like a ticket. When you can take what I'm saying, what I write down in the notes and what you know about the numbers, and you can actually just make your own decision and say, here's what I'm willing to do for these reasons. I know where it's wrong. And you pull the trigger, you have a successful trade, and it was based on the right information. And you did it based on what you're comfortable doing. That's to me like a ticket, like a golden ticket, because you're really more than halfway home to not needing me anymore when you can do that. Oh, bros. What happened to bros? Look at that. Nice job, Dirk. Bros. 411.50 to 411.25 should be a bounce area. If it's not, give or take. We got a different situation going on. Nice job in bros. It's kind of a head spinner this morning, from nothing going on to a squeeze operation to a gap and crap. And it's all about where they close them. It's nothing to do with where they are at 9:50 in the morning. Intraday is intraday, closing prices are closing prices. Technically this is down to 411, which is around the closing price from yesterday. And somebody brought that up before. That's correct. Yeah, I had a feeling that was the case, Armand. I almost said it in the video last night, but I didn't really know it. But I had a suspicion. And what did I say? What follows? No volatility. Volatility. What's the low? 50. How you doing? Anybody take the long? 50 on the button. Well, there you have it. It's a good start anyway. Can't say they'll get very far right now. We don't know. They can come right back down. Got to be careful with this one. Yeah, take some profit along the way. Get a base hit and see if you can get a runner. What do you mean another, Grant? That was the first place. We have a couple things in mind. Take a look at the hourly chart. You can see what's going on, right? So it doesn't mean they can't come down more. It's a big candle. Doesn't mean they will, doesn't mean they won't. 30-minute chart, big candle. 15-minute chart, reversal candle, follow through candle. 5-minute chart, we're looking for a bounce off a number. You have to take the big picture in mind, and you also, on the flip side, have to remember that what they're doing now doesn't mean they're going to be doing it in 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 1 minute. So we have to get that out of our head. We have to rewire our brain, because there is a bounce. I gave you a little one off 411.50. Whether or not that hold, pardon me, whether or not that holds, we don't know. But they came to the first support zone and they bounced, so that at least for now confirms the importance of that number, not only yesterday, but today, at least right now. Right now, if they come back down, you have to make them go lower. First time, best time. If they come back down to 411.50, it's not the same as the first buy. Okay? That trade's long over, Ref. What do you want to support on PayPal? Let's see. I'm looking. Oh, I might have one on my screen already. 64.30. Let me double check it. Yeah. 64.30, 63.71. $64.30. $63.71. PayPal. Yep. There's your rip and the spiders. Nice. Okay. What'd they get to? 88. All right. Maybe 3.5 points. I'm sure some traders took something off. Doesn't mean they won't go higher, but that's a good sign. There you go. Okay. Have a nice day. All right. No, I'm just kidding. All right. There's your scalp, 5 points. I'll be right back. 412.35 or so, where they are right now, it's going to be some overhead resistance, but that doesn't mean they have to stop there. I mean, this is a nice rip. Let me hear about it. What do you got? Anybody take this trade? I know there were. I mean, I know that I already asked. Now I want to see if anybody's happy about it. Got filled too early in the ES, broke even. Okay. All right. That was your own trade. Okay. The numbers are off. My numbers are off? Not enough to have a break-even trade off that number. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, let's move on. So we had a ton of players. That's the bottom line. I mean, I can't even read the names fast enough. They scrolled past me. It's all the normal suspects. Great job, everybody. I mean, we have a lot of profits, a lot of points, a lot of holders, a lot of nice trade. What can I say? Patience, right? We didn't even really talk about it beforehand. We just waited until they came into the zone. Look at this. Look at this go. Nice job, Patrick. Look at this, right back to 412. Look at this. What's the high? 412.80. Are you kidding me? I mean, sometimes I'm amazed at that. There, get out of there. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Risk-free, emotionless trade. Isn't that beautiful? For junior already, right? 411.50 up to 413. 413.15 to 413.90 is overhead resistance. 413.85, 413.90. What if they get back to the pivot and get above? What does that tell you? That tells you put on your rocket shoes. Next price in the Qs is 326.20. That's the target and overhead resistance. If you go back to the videos, Armand, like the daily chart of the Qs and the weekly chart, and you think about what we were talking about each and every night, and you say, well, look, they're pushing up again, and there was never anything bearish on the Qs. Despite any divergences, despite the breadth, doesn't matter. They are where they are. Price is the absolute arbiter. This is just, one of those situations where, once again, for the second time in a row, at least for now, we caught the low. Who does that? Who's buying? Look at this chart, all right? Let's just think about this for a second. Look at this go. Is that a ripper or what? That was called a shakeout operation. They screwed the traders at the opening bell who were short. Then they screwed the traders who were chasing it up, and they screwed them both. And here they are, right back approaching the pivot. Pretty interesting stuff. Trick, trap, fool, and frustrate crew was out in full force, without a shadow of a doubt. Pretty amazing. Stone cold low. I love that, Eric H. No, correct, Jason. Didn't screw us. It's a good point. Because, yeah, that's a great point. Should have said that myself. Just is. Just leave it at that. Okay, Patrick. Awesome. Nice job. Scott B in for 94.60. That's $9,460. How you doing? Had a nice week this morning. That's fantastic, Jeff. Jeff took the ride down and the ride back up. And Armand's at 8K for the day. I mean, these are real numbers, guys. I mean, this is no joke. And some of you will get there. It's all about account size and what you're willing to do and all that stuff. But this goes to show you that, these are real people trading real money. All right, here comes the pivot. We'll see if they can get there. Nice job, Brian O. Something for everybody. Doesn't matter whether you made 5K or 500 or 50 bucks. Everybody does their own thing. It's all relative. The idea is to have patience, be selective, take the trades that make sense. You know where you're wrong. I'm right here. They're not all going to work. Most are going to work. And I say that every day for a reason. I'm trying to give you the idea that you can overcome the fear. And the fear isn't that the trade won't work or that the numbers are going to be wrong. The fear is the loss of the money because you're so programmed to think that way because of the prior losses. And once we get over that and we realize that we just keep doing the same thing and we do the same thing every day, okay? This was the morning trade, okay? It was 411.50. That was the important place. All right, they came back for a test, a back test. And once you understand what they're doing, it gives you a different sense of calmness getting into a trade. That's just the way it is. Yeah, that's going to happen every week, right? It just, people come, people go. It's not for everybody. There's people sitting here right now saying, I can't do this, no matter what I say, because it's not for them. That's okay. So I want to read something that Paul P. writes, and it's really a little profound, maybe more than he thinks. He missed out on the entire trade because I was afraid of losing money, so I set an order at 411.20. Now, I think he knows this deep down. The reason he did that was because my zone was 411.50 to 411.25. He didn't really want to be in the trade. Somewhere along the line, his alter ego or subconscious said, put a trade in, but put a trade in that's probably not likely to get hit, so I don't have to be in the trade because I really don't want to be in the trade. And that's why he put it in at that number. consciously or subconsciously. Look what they did to 413.85 or didn't do. It came up short, pulled back. This is the way it works. Trick, trap, fool, and frustrate crew. Am I right, Paul? I'm close. Maybe I'm close. Maybe I'm not. But it's the psychology behind he's not yet comfortable with certain trades. And the falling knife trade may not be up his alley. It's not a falling knife to me, but it's a falling knife to some until you have an understanding of what's going on and a belief. The belief is they're running a test of an important place. That's why I gave you the number. I didn't say a word until they got there, until they were getting close. I didn't say a word about here's a support zone, here's whatever. I didn't say a word about it. Okay. First thing I said was 411.75, 411.50, but then 411.50 became the thing. And we just waited. Everybody listened, everybody waited, almost everybody. Yeah, Blaine brings up a good point. People need to really watch the videos and understand how I trade, how I do what I do, why I do certain things. And it gives them and you all a better understanding, which gives you better comfort level. It's really important. It's just repetition, right? Repetition is the mother of all learning. I think that's the phrase. I didn't invent that, but I'm pretty sure it exists. Yeah, that's another way to go, Michael H. He bought a little bit in front of it, but he knew what the number was, so it really didn't make any difference. If you think that they're running a test, that's half the battle. If you think that what's happening, and what did I say when it was going down? What's happening or up, whatever I said it, what's happening in now isn't necessarily going to be happening in 5 minutes or 1 minute or 3 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever it is. They're doing something, and when they're done doing it, they're going to be done doing it. I'll be back in 30 seconds. All right, I'm back. I want to see something. Just curious. I'm just thinking out loud for a second. Just curious. No. Okay. The reason I did that is because I want to finish that thought from before. I don't know why I have 2 lines there. I want to finish that thought from before, which is when this is going on, and there's a gap down here, yesterday's closing price, even if you consider the white space, either way, it doesn't matter. All right, who's buying this on the button? Unless you know the numbers. The gap had nothing to do with the numbers. Somebody asked, is the gap a better buy? And I didn't answer the question on purpose because my numbers weren't at the gap. And yeah, it would have been a better buy, but I didn't think they were going to get there. And that's why I told you 411.50 to 411.25. There was no magic to the 411.25. It was just given a little wiggle room. That's correct, Jeff. Once you understand they're running a test of support or resistance, and what normally happens at the test is they stop going up first. That's the definition of resistance. Doesn't mean they have to get rejected right away, but it's the first step is they stop going up. And we see this all the time. Sometimes they go sideways. Tells us one thing. Getting rejected tells us something different. But overhead resistance is a place you can begin, if you have a zone, the place you could begin to enter a trade that says, hey, I don't think they're going to get through here. So I'm going to take a short and say they're going to get rejected, at least give me a base hit and maybe I get more. And same thing on the flip side with support. So when they're running a test, they're running a test. And once you understand that, once you have a belief in that, it's first the understanding and then the belief. Then you can enter these trades with a different mindset or enter these trades, period. But until you do, you really shouldn't, because then you're just, I don't want to say you're guessing, because you're not guessing. You're going on someone else's say so without the belief and the understanding of what's going on. So you never really learn. You have to learn, because you'll never be successful if you don't have a belief in what you're doing. That's just garden variety life stuff. You have to have a belief in what you're doing. It starts with an understanding. Philosophy 101. Of course it's a game. This is a video game that you play with real money. Right back. 411.50 a pivot. All right, so forget about 413.85. This second gap and crap, it's not really a gap and crap, the second rejection. You know, this is a wild tape. What can you say? Never get to 413.85, come up short. Many traders had a really great trade up. I don't know that anybody shorted it. I wouldn't have, and at least until I got to 413.85, if anything, just for the record. Yeah, first time, best time, Paul P. Thanks for bringing that up. So 411.50 is not, and I repeat, not, capital N-O-T, the same as it was before. We don't know that they'll even get there. This is just a rodeo. Holy cow. What was the high? Well, I don't know how you did that. Thomas, good job. 412.50 is important. They got to get above 412.50. 412.80 is still important, but from a short-term perspective, 412.50 is important too. Get a shorter view, shorter time frame view. I mean, this is just a rodeo, right? Pretty amazing. All right, I'm reading some stuff in here. There's extended posts, so give me a moment. All right, so Mike makes a good point. I appreciate you putting that in, Mike V. Basically, I'll paraphrase some of this stuff, and it was about the comfort level. And in order for Mike to gain a better comfort level for himself at this point in time on these type of trades, what he did was he reduced his position size, which allowed him to hold longer because he was taking profit too early and missing out on a lot of upside stuff, right? So obviously that was a good move. And we talk about that all the time. So he listened, he heeded the advice and said, hey, I'm going to take a different position size because I have a different emotional attachment because it's less of a risk if it's wrong. So that helps me get over that little hurdle. And so I would just take that for what it's worth, which is a lot. Take it at face value. It allowed him to see it work. And so his point was he got a chunk, you know, of points today. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah, ref, that's not a revelation. Just because he said it doesn't make it true or untrue. I mean, that's one way to go. What does he know that, I mean, you know, come on. If he's right, everybody will talk about it. If he's wrong, they forget about it. It doesn't matter. That's why these guys say that stuff. He's putting out a futures, an option to be on TV, an option for them to talk about him on TV. That's what that is. There's no other reason for him to say that. No, it didn't. That's the excuse after the fact. Have you not been here before, Raf? Come on. Shame on you. That's not on the board right now, Mike. B. It's just floating around now. Morning rush is over for now. 412.50 is the thing still. What's the high? 59. You have to get above 412.50 and stay there. 412.50. Yeah, semis and the Qs do have relative strength. That's a good pickup, Jeff C. It's certainly not a negative, so we know that. Qs are doing just fine. Let's get an hourly chart view of the same. Okay, look at the difference. Look at this hourly candle. Look at this hourly candle. What does this tell you? This tells you that somewhere along the line, they're still buying risk assets. This is either shenanigans or this is going to reverse. That's what that tells me. It's a divergence. Divergences will always resolve themselves. So it's a matter of which way. Shenanigans on the Spiders account or S&P account, or are the Qs in a fake out right now and they're going to reverse? Well, semis are up, so that's not telling us the Qs are going to reverse, that's for sure. Eric asks, tell me what other activity you can participate in and make weeks worth of income in 1 hour and go about your day. And it can't do that every single day, but it's a point well made. And the answer is nothing legal that I know, at least that I can do, other than gambling. But, you know, how often are you going to win at that? Again, another rejection from 412.50. How you doing? Hold on, I'm working on something. Took me a little long. Southern Copper, 75.04 to 74.56 are the numbers. Those are the numbers. You don't want to take it, don't take it. You want to let them spike it, let them spike it. Those are the two numbers. It's on the move. It's coming into a support area. Trader's choice. Southern Copper, SCCO. Below 411.50, and they fill the gap most likely left open yesterday. Just call it 411. 73.95 to answer the question, what would the stop be on SCCO Southern Copper? 73.95 on close, candle closes, preferably an hourly one. There's two numbers in here, 56 and 31, you know, call it 32. And here come the spiders, fill a gap. Now here comes showtime, right? If they start getting below 411, that's a different tape. That's gonna be reversal. I mean, it's already a reversal. It's just gonna be the bear case for lower prices. Shouldn't have said reversal. It's already a reversal. 411 on the button. Good job, Eric D. 3,500. Anybody buy 411? Curious. Bueller? Yeah, okay. That was a spot. I'll be right back. So remember 410.20 from yesterday? We're going to call it unfinished business, and they could bounce the tape there. Okay? 410.20. And you'd have to treat it as a zone down to 409.45. This is a nice little meltdown. 410.18. Oh, there you go. Nice little zipper. Whoop. It's amazing. It's just freaking remarkable. I'm sorry, guys. I just can't believe it sometimes. All right, let me ask the $64,000 question. Anybody take 410.20? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Holy shit. Holy cow. Are you kidding me? Great job, everybody. I mean, the names just keep rolling in. All the same suspects. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm going to ask you guys to help me out on Twitter. I'm going to post something on Twitter later. Go over there and make a comment, do something. If you're not on Twitter, that's fine. If you are, go do it, just for the fun of it. I don't really get a lot of action over there, but it's kind of fun. It's the least you could do. Nice job, Dale. Thanks for putting that in. It's okay, David K. It's fine. If you're not there, you're not there. It's no big deal. It's just an unbelievable rip. I mean, you know, they gave you more than 10 points in like a minute, a couple of minutes. It's unbelievable. Nice job, Raf, done for the day. Well, I told you, we got something for everybody. The CCO is not finding any support just yet. Nice job, Brian O, shutting it down. Profit in pocket and riding off into the sunset or whatever that says. I didn't see the rest of it. Yeah, sunset, sure. Yeah, there was some symmetry there, Marcus. You're right. Move down, move back up, and about the same move from here to here is close to here, just from an eyeballs perspective. So that is symmetry. Isn't that something? Imagine if that sticks, catch the low twice here and here. Isn't that ridiculous? I'll even admit that's ridiculous. This one was within 2 cents and this one was on the button. It's ridiculous. It is FM. No, the first one was on the button. Here's the low, 411.50. Yeah, market participation, Mike. Just like we said yesterday and in the video last night, what follows a quiet, non-volatile market is a volatile market. Pickup in volume accompanies that. You have to have a pickup in volume to get the volatility that we're seeing today. It's got to be participation on both sides. Now you're just holding a trailer, right? Everybody who was in from 410.20 obviously took profit, some. And now you're just holding a trailer saying, hey, you never know. Who knew that the 411.50 bounce was going to give you 22 or 3 points, right? Who knew that? Nobody knew that, including me. So here we go again. How do you know this isn't going to give you 20 or 30 points? You have no idea. That's why it's called a risk-free emotionless trade. It's very important. I'm being very serious right now, because the only way that you can participate in those is by taking some profit off and having the patience to hold something. And when traders are at final target, let's say there was a final target, they don't have even half of their original position on. It's generally speaking 10%, 20%, maybe 25. That's it. That's the way it works. That's the only way you can participate for that amount of points. So you can't really get, if you're playing correctly, running the business correctly, you can't really get the full 25 points on the same number of contracts or number of shares or whatever you're buying that you bought originally. You shouldn't, because that you're not doing it correctly, because you're never gonna have that happen enough, and you're gonna end up losing on too many of them by holding like that. Your emotions take over. Doesn't work. This way works. What was the low in Southern Copper? 33 against 32. That's pretty interesting. Numbers work. I didn't take one trade today, David K. That's the honest truth. Everybody's gonna be like, why not? How come you don't trade? Because for those of you that are new, the only way I can do what I'm doing for you effectively is to focus on what I'm doing for you. And each and every time I take a trade, and sometimes I do, and I don't take none of the trades, but when the market's like this, I have to focus. And if my focus is on my trade, which is human nature, it's natural, then you guys are gonna lose out on a part of my focus. And that's a decision I made doing this. I take some of them, but I don't take all of them, and it has nothing to do with whether they're going to work or not. If I tell you a number is a number, support is support, resistance is resistance, here's the trade, you can assume I'm taking it, even if I'm not, because I'm never going to tell you something I wouldn't be willing to take, ever, ever, ever.